What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for March 3rd, 2026. This was a fairly slow week, but CIG at least tried to make it interesting. We had a Star Citizen Live with the audio team, and crafting is officially on the roadmap. All that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first Week in Review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news each week, put it into one video, and share some of my opinions about it. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike. So if you haven't stopped by and said hello yet, please do. I always enjoy seeing you guys hang out over there. And yeah, no sponsor this week, so just hit the subscribe button. It's free. It really actually does help with YouTube now. Apparently, the algorithm is changing again. So if you want to help out, that is huge. If you want to go above and beyond, you can always do a super thanks or something like that down below. But with that, we have a bit to get through. So let's get into what happened in the patches this week. All right, we started out on Wednesday where we got a hotfix. There were some issues with Alliance aid missions delivering the rewards to you. So they said they hotfixed this. Let me know in the comments if you've seen rewards in your hangar that you didn't have before, maybe. And some weird Arena Commander stuff. And then more performance fixes. I think this was one of the more crashy patches that I've had in recent memory. 30Ks were definitely not gone. There was also some speculation about this hotfix that there were some economy exploit fixes in this patch. Maybe Wikipedia said it somewhere in testing chat, but I'm not aware of, which could be inching us maybe towards taking a leap towards that wipe. And I welcome one personally, but I would rather see a wipe come after 4.7, and we'll talk more about like crafting in 4.7 in a little bit, and like let them get a couple of months with this entry level version of crafting, dial that in, and then give a hefty wipe where we all start fresh with a more solid foundation of like, what do we do now? Oh, we build stuff, right? That kind of thing, instead of, oh, we go and buy stuff. So yeah, we get stuff and we build stuff instead of we get money and we buy stuff. I think that would be a cool place to start whatever wipe they want to do, but they did say their wipe's going to be targeted, and who knows. And then, yeah, maybe by 4.8, we're talking insurance changes and things like that where maybe you lose things and you have to replace them by crafting stuff. Who knows? But I think a wipe needs to wait for a little bit more before we get there, even if they did fix some of the exploits. Then again on Wednesday, we also had an in-game ship sale. This, I have to say, is a really good idea, but just not right now. You can argue it was kind of poorly executed as well. Most of you watching this video are probably on the pulse of what goes on with Star Citizen, especially in like the last 6 months or so, and economy-wise as well. And that has really just been hyperinflation. Players have billions and nothing to spend it on. So 20% off some of the less desirable ships in the game isn't going to excite too many people. The argument might be that a lot of newer players or players who just play and don't engage with the socials around Star Citizen may not know, and maybe they don't have a ton of money, let's say. But the issue with that is those players wouldn't even know that the event was going on because it's not really announced anywhere outside of Spectrum. And EVE Online, when you log into a game and there's an event, there's a huge pop-up that's there to promote the event and kind of tells you where to go and what to do very loosely, but it gives you an idea of what's going on. Here you have to find some obscure post on Spectrum. So while this is a great idea, I think the timing, the post, kind of post-wipe would have been better timing for something like this. Would have been amazing, actually. And the execution was just not great. Regardless, this sale will go on until 4.7 launches, and I think it's going to be a really good thing that they do this in the future. I just hope they don't take the lack of excitement around it now as a lack of success. I think it will be successful at some point. That's all we had for the patches. Not a lot happened there. Let's jump into roadmap updates. All right, this roadmap roundup was extremely short, but hopefully really impactful. They are confirming their goal to deliver crafting with the inventory rework in 4.7. Now it's tentative, obviously, but they're confirming their goal. They're not confirming that it's going to be in just yet. But for crafting, they're even committing to the earnable blueprints which is, was tested very limitedly in the last test that we had. So hopefully they add them to later reputation grinds, so it's kind of worth doing. But like I'd said previously, this seems more like a mining update than it is like the crafting update. So that needs some work until they provide that engaging and challenging experience for mining as well. It's not even fully done yet, I would say. And crafting will just be FPS weapons and armor, which is totally cool. Please don't take this as a negative at all. It's not. But making really strong FPS weapons will be fun, but it kind of seems more personal than it is to do on a big scale for a number of people or even your org, right? I think it's going to be a challenge to do that consistently every day and have a good time. We'll see. I hope it's not, but it probably will not be as impactful as, say, ship weapons or ship components or ships themselves one day. This honestly just seems like they want to take it really slow, and when they have a good feel for crafting, they'll ramp it up and the pace will pick up later. The inventory stuff is mainly keeping a similar inventory feel, with a different look, but it also has proximity loot, stacking, and search, while also seeming like it's a bit faster when you grab items. So that's good. We'll have to see how it plays out, but this is the most anticipated patch for me ever, and I'm pretty excited for it now. Don't forget there's Rockbreaker in this too. And with that, we did have a Star Citizen live, and we're going to cover that very briefly next in video updates. All right, so this Star Citizen Live was with the audio team, and not a lot to pull out here. I'm not actually going to cut anything out for you. I'm just going to briefly go over some of the talking points. I actually have nothing written here at all because there's so few that I can remember them. Basically, there's lots of plans to improve the audio and make it more cinematic. Okay, not even sure what that means, number one. Number two, they want to make every spaceship have unique sounds that go with it. That's pretty cool. It's going to take some time. Every new one that comes out will have unique stuff to it. If you've flown the newer Drake ship, the vertical one, I always forget the name of it. That definitely sounds unique. Some of the the Wolf and stuff like that, I think have come and had quite unique things as well. So that's cool. The big takeaway, and we'll touch on it in other updates, is a lot of people were a bit disappointed with this Origin sale thing that we had. And I think it was a question that got asked during Star Citizen Live, and they did say that they are working on the audio for an Origin ship. Now, working on the audio kind of implies that the ship might be far along, or maybe it's not. Maybe they work on the audio a little bit earlier on those things and are just coming up with the sounds or ideas that they have based on the write-up of a ship. But yeah, new Origin ship coming is another thing that's there. But that's it. It's the audio team. And it's not like they're not important. Audio is incredibly important in a video game, but it does not tell us how we're going to play the video game in the future necessarily. So not a lot to pull out there, but they did have it. If you're interested in that, I mean, the main guy who's there is extremely eccentric. It was an entertaining show, but it is not really one that we're going to spend a lot of time on as we have in the last couple of weeks. And with that, let's get into some other updates. All right, and as always, we start out with a sneak peek, and this one is kind of exciting. It's another look at one of the mirrors, or the mirror, that we'll have to fix to get running for Rockbreaker, to crack the rock at Rockbreaker. I was really excited for this, but there are rumblings that it will largely be like a PvE location, similar to the QV stations or Onyx facilities. Now, I love Hathor. I love first the puzzles that you have to complete in FPS, and then the mining with protection cooperation that you need because there's PvP involved there. I'm really curious how something similar is meant to play out in space, especially if it's going to be more like QV stations and there'll be a lot of them. I'm not sure how I like that. So sound off down below. Are you guys sick of the PvP content? But when you really look at it, most of the content is PvE. My feedback for CIG just generally is they seem to just have it all wrong. The big snake fight, or the worm fight, I should say. The worm fight is in Pyro, but it's very much like a PvE only design. That should be in Stanton. And then Hathor is very much a PvP design, but that's in Stanton, and that should be in Pyro. It seems like they're just making weird choices, right? So who knows? Maybe this one will be fun. I'm looking forward to checking it out, but we don't know anything about it yet. But there are rumblings that it's a PvE kind of main focus with a little bit of PvP. Then there was a jump point every month for people who subscribe to CIG. We don't have new jump points in the game. It's a magazine called Jump Point Magazine for subscribers. And this edition has some really cool info and pictures in it. Since it's behind a paywall, I will kind of save those for you guys to check out yourselves. But the image here was public on their post. And the main articles were on the Moth, if you want to see like concepts and stuff like that. That's kind of cool. But the article that I want to kind of touch on here is the Nyx rest stops. And there's lots of images on how they're going to look and details about them. They're basically the same as the Pyro ones. They'll have fuel, medical, shops, external freight elevators, and missions will come and go from there. And yeah, now making Pyro and Nyx kind of not feel like the Wild West is the vibe that I'm getting here. Space is just... doesn't it feel like... it feels too comfortable sometimes. There's so many like weird griefing issues, and then other times it's like too comfortable, and they haven't gotten the vibe that I feel like is just right yet. Now, next is that Origin sale that we hinted at earlier, and as you can see, the sale has ended, but the main goal here is for them to just sell more 890 jumps to... you know, they sell them 3 or 5 times a year. This is just one of those times. It has limited sales, and they do it every once in a while. And again, most people I noticed had nothing good to say about this. I saw many of our typical, like, white knights that you would call them, complaining about it on Spectrum and Twitter and things like that. And I wish they complained about the lack of gameplay in the game sometimes, and maybe the focus would shift there a bit more. But this event simply wasn't for anyone other than like third-party sellers and bot farmers. CIG is going to profit off of those people. They buy up the limited ships and then try to profit off some other person who's going to buy them later. I can't imagine that many people were like waiting in line to buy this. It was just probably those types, and it's not that big of a deal. All right, with that, it's my birthday. I got to jump in the shower and get ready to spend the rest of the day with my family. So I'm recording this Saturday morning, all right? So if anything happens, I normally record this Monday morning or Sunday morning, depending on the week. So if anything is happening that I missed, leave a comment down below, and we'll cover it in next week's episode. But I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the great year, another great year with you guys. And yeah, we'll catch you all next week. Thank you so much for watching.